Hello?
Hello, Uriah?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Sorry for the wait. Welcome to MMA Jam Live, sir. Thank you for taking the time out of your evening to chat with us.
No problem. What's up, guys?
Nothing much. How's everything going?
Pretty good. Just working on some recovery and looking to get back in there as soon as I can.
Definitely, I hear you. Now, we won't take too much of your time. We'll just let you, keep on with your recovery now. Now, you moved to Queens. Okay, thank you, sir. You moved to Queens, New York from Jamaica at a very young age. What was it like as a kid trying to adapt to a new surrounding and a new culture?
It was just different, Any type of new atmosphere was always going to be different, and it was kind of like a jungle. So if you don't really know what to do, then it's hard to survive, and then stuff happens, you make mistakes, and then you either learn from it or you kind of just go with those mistakes. But it was different, and coming from a structured type of life, like our school was just uniform-based, and there was a lot of discipline. There wasn't a lot of bull crap that I see in school, yelling at teachers and talking back to parents and all that. When I first heard you can do all that, I was stunned. I'm like, wait, that's allowed? You can yell at your parents and talk back to them and talk back to teachers and stuff like that? Are you crazy? But it was just different. So the bullying happened. It just made it, I guess an adventure. And next thing you know, I'm here.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I actually work, I work security, full time, and I work with a lot of Jamaican guys, and they mentioned the same thing, that when they came here, it was a bit of a culture shock where some of the things that they couldn't do in Jamaica was freely happening here in the United States.
Absolutely. It was like, and that was the biggest thing because, I was a teenager and I was exposed to that. So I was frequently around that environment of just being with kids and, how they would pick on you. And, you always have bullies, but it wasn't to that extent where it was almost like there's their job. It's like, trolls that are on the internet. It's like they have a job to just terrorize you and put you down. Like, it's definitely a culture shock.
Now, how much of a factor was peer pressure a factor? Was it a factor at all in your childhood?
Not at all. I didn't give into any peer pressure. The way we were brought up to, make the right decision most of the time, but I didn't give into any of the smoking or gang. I was never in a gang. I didn't smoke. I didn't do any of that stuff, and I guess with the help of martial arts too, it just redefined me or added to that. But I was always disciplined in that sense to not do all those things. So I guess I didn't give in.
Now, it's widely known that you were bullied as a kid. Now, how were you able to find refuge in mixed martial arts?
For me, it was just fun. I remember watching as a kid, but we couldn't afford it. And I didn't even know where to even start martial arts in Jamaica. But I guess coming here, it just gave me a lot of opportunities, and a lot of doors were open, and it was more exposed. And I guess when the bullying got a little harder and then a little bit more difficult to handle, my mother put me in martial arts school because I was cutting class, and she found out that I was missing class, and they called the house, and I just kind of broke down to her and told her I was getting bullied, and she helped me by putting me in martial arts to build my confidence.
It's interesting because, as a person that's lived here all his life, I feel like this country can be, if you can live here, you can probably live anywhere, because I think it's just generally tough to live here.
It is, especially in New York, which is like one of the best cities in the world. It's not the best city in the world, in my opinion, but at the same time, it's a concrete jungle. And, going back to your question earlier, it was like throwing in the jungle without no guide, so I just had to kind of figure stuff out. And, New York will make you hard, man. It'll make you tough. You can tell when you run into a New Yorker, the attitude they carry. Even now, I see a lot of people, how hard they are. And I've gone to other places like Portland, Oregon. It's the complete opposite of New York, man. It's almost forbidden to be mean in Portland. No one's ever mean. Everyone's always say hi to you. Like, you pass anyone, they have to say hi to you. And again, it was a little culture shock. And my coach was like, why are you all weirded out? I'm like, I don't know. People say hi to me. And he's like, wow, you're really from New York. And you look at someone in the face here in New York, they look at you a little fun. Like, what you looking at, man? So it's definitely different. But I've done a lot.
Fans of this show are probably going to kill me for saying this again, but I'm actually from the Bronx, New York. I was born and raised there, lived there most of my life, but I'm now in Florida. So I can definitely relate to everything you say, where you just look at someone the wrong way and they're like, well, what the hell are you looking at? Like, you want to fight? Like,
they know. They absolutely know. You look at any New Yorker, they won't even look at you. They look at you, they look down, they look away. It's almost like forbidden to look at someone that long unless you're attracted to them or trying to engage in an eye conversation. But you look at anyone in New York, it's like, yo, what's up? Or you think they want something, or you're like, why is this dude looking at me? So automatically you assume it's a fight. But Portland, Oregon, oh my goodness, you look at someone, it's like, hey man, what's up? How was your day? You're like, what? It's kind of surreal, but it's cool.
Yeah, New York has, living there, it was tough, and I actually had to end up moving down south because it became too difficult after a while.
You know what they say, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere else. And New York, is home for me. I'm originally from Jamaica. I came here when I was a kid, so I don't really remember too much. But for being here for almost half my life, or most of my life, it definitely made me into the person I am, and it just made me tough and a little hard.
Now, moving forward, your time on the 17th season of The Ultimate Fighter was certainly memorable, as you finished all three of your opponents while inside the house. Your performances had many people saying that you were the most come out of the Ultimate Fighter, and that you were the future title contender. These are pretty much direct quotes. Now, how much pressure was on you to live up to those lofty expectations? And in hindsight, do you feel as though it hindered you in any way?
It was some crazy pressuring, man. Coming from nothing and just being thrown into, quote, fame, it was just very weird and just different. And, I felt alone, and a lot of people in my ears, and even people that are my friends just started to turn on me. People that I've known for a long time have all of a sudden just switched on me, and I'm like, wow. So it made it even hard for me to trust anybody, and it made me realize who my real friends were, who my confidants are, and to differentiate from the constituents, the people that are just there to just latch on to you. And it was a scary time, but I try to block it out and just have this focused mind. But again, it was a different chapter where in certain ways I felt misguided because I felt alone, and it was just, oh man, this guy's this guy's that. Meanwhile, I was just doing what I was taught. Like, I wasn't this killer monster, and I guess I kind of started to feed into it because I'm like, I guess I am this guy. But I remember being on the show, I was just very, articulate, and in the martial arts way, it's just looking for that one-shot kill. And I've done that, a couple of times sparring. I was just very focused, because in karate, it's like you look for that opening, you take it, and it's over. And, the humanity side of me came out when I apologized. The people looking at me like, oh, why is he apologizing? Because I'm a fucking human being. What do you expect? But I guess the sport has kind of led to everyone saying you got to be a killer. And I'm not a killer. I love the idea of going there and compete, but I guess society and everyone else like, no, you're supposed to be this way. So in certain ways, I feel alone in it because I'm like, I'm not trying to be that person. I'm different. And everyone's like, whoa, this guy's different. It's interesting. Meanwhile, I'm just personally just trying to get better. I just want to compete against the best and match up against them in any way I could to excel. That's my personal goal. To be honest, I don't really care about a belt. If you take a belt away from anyone, they're still good. A belt's just a material thing, but as a martial artist, for me personally, it's a journey. But doing that, it's just hard for a lot of people to understand because I guess to what they're exposed for, and it's whoever's on top that's the toughest, and you got to be mean. Meanwhile, I'm like, fuck that. I'm just trying to get better. I'm just trying to get good. And, if you put someone in front of me, they're going to try to kill me. That's fine. I'm just going to try to get better. So I don't care. But it's hard for other people to see that. So I guess I'm alone.
You know, I think that most people, myself included, can agree that you're arguably one of the nicest fighters in the world. However, as you mentioned, you know, fans often try to create a picture of you that paints you as a guy that should be upset or hell bent on revenge or something like that. Why do you feel as though fans have a hard time understanding that fighters can be nice people and still handle their business inside the cage?
You know, before I was just more upset to say, oh, man, fans are just stupid. Like, I'd expect me to be this when I'm not. And I guess it's just educating them, you know. If you watch a reality show and you see someone a certain way, in your perception, you're like, oh, man, this person's a dick. Meanwhile, that person is someone different because, first of all, social media is so good at that stuff. And the power of editing, the stuff to edit stuff to create a certain type of character or viewing to their liking so they can get more ratings or viewing or whatever to make it more popular. And then they forget about the person at hand. So I guess, again, it's just them being exposed to certain things. Like, since after episode 3, all of a sudden I was a bully, I was an asshole, I was all this. I'm watching, I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't do all that stuff. So, you know, it's just editing and, you know, it just goes back to me saying, if my friends and my family know who I really am, then I don't really have to prove myself to anyone. And you're going to have people in this world that like you. You're going to have people in this world that do not like you. You're going to have people in the world who want you to get on top, and you're going to have those same people, when you get there and you stay there too long, they want you to fail. It's just human nature. They always want to see that big upset. We don't want to see someone, it's like saying, who could beat him? Like when Anderson lost, all of a sudden, oh, he's not that great. He was fucking around. So you telling me he's been doing it all his life, smashing you, just that one time you get caught doing it, which was, I think, a perfect game plan to beat Weidman. You got to get in his head. Weidman's best weapon is his head. You got caught, all of a sudden, you know, the world's like, oh, Anderson's not that good. He's fucking around or he's this and that. Like, who are you? So then you get to see who your real fans are, because all of a sudden, you know, they're not there for you. So when I go out there, to be honest, and forgive me for my French, I really don't give a shit about all of it. And I don't care about, you know, if they boo or all that stuff, because I'm in there for me. You can take Rhonda, for example. She's a perfect example. She's like, fuck you guys. I'm going out there for me. You're not paying my bills. You know, I do this for me. It's my passion, and it's, you know, it's my legacy, and I'm in there alone. So fuck you guys. She does it so well. I admire her for that.
You know, I think the problem with society is that they're looking for you guys like as role models. And I'm not saying any of you guys are bad. I'm just saying that, like, they put these expectations on you guys. They expect certain things. They expect you to be a certain way. When you're too robotic, they call you out on it. When you show too much emotion, they call you out on it. So you can never be as good as the fan wants you to be.
Exactly. So I've been working on this new thing. It's called the fuck it phase. You just say fuck everything. You go out there and do you. And it's been working pretty well. I've met people who are generally good fans. You know, I don't like to sign a lot of autographs. Like, I was having a debate with one of my close buddy about this. He's like, why do you want to sign autographs? I'm like, first of all, an autograph to me is me uplifting or changing someone's life. What the hell is my signature on something going to do for someone? What does it really do? Like, a kid came up to me and told me, you know, in Chipotle in California, he was shaking, first of all, saying, man, because of you, I didn't give up. Like, I saw your story, and I was bullied, and I wanted to commit suicide. And because of what I saw you overcame, you know, I decided to start doing jiu-jitsu, build my confidence. And now I'm a lot better in a lot of things. You know, to me, that's a freaking autograph. So I don't really give into this fame and all that bullshit, and I don't care what people think about it. Before I did, but it's like, oh, I guess I got to make them like me. But I'm like, fuck it. Not everyone's going to like you. But at the same time, I don't want to be too disrespectful. You know, I got to do what I got to do. But I just got to be honest. And I think a lot of people are just not honest. And I'm not going to go out there and try to please anyone or be this type of person because they want to see it. You know, I only have one life. The last time I checked, it's my life.
You know, Mr. Hall, what if I told you that the New York peer pressure did get to you based on everything you just said?
Say that again?
What if I told you that the New York peer pressure did just get to you? You sound like a true New Yorker now.
Just speaking from the heart.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, Nick Diaz recently mentioned that he really doesn't like fighting. Now, I am by no means trying to imply that you don't either. However, we have seen you visibly bothered by stuff that has transpired in the cage, particularly in the Adam Sella fight on The Ultimate Fighter. Is there a part of you that can relate to what Diaz had to say about not liking to fight?
Absolutely. I think, I could be wrong, but I can understand where Nick is coming from. You know, you get paid to do it, and it's a big exposure, but you don't like to go out there and do it to what everyone wants you to do, but you do it because you have to. I can definitely relate to it. I don't like to do it in a way where I go out there and just batter someone, you know. In the midst of it, stuff might happen, but again, it showed a compassionate side of me that came out after Adam Sella. You know, people were just questioning, like, wait, why is he like that? You're supposed to, you know, like, all of a sudden I can't be a human, I have to be an animal. Even people that I meet in the street are like, oh my God, you speak so correctly. Like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Oh my
God. A compliment? Are you serious? You know, like, I think it's just a lot of people have this certain perception of what they think a fighter is, and they forget that, you know, we're human beings too. Like, I'm a freaking human being, man, and I'm definitely not going to let all that get to me. I'm not going to let it get to me. You know, I'd rather inspire someone. For me, doing this, man, is to inspire others, and it doesn't have to be in the fighting game. It's just life in general, man, and the more I do this, the more I'm exposed to certain things, the more I see certain things. You know, and I mean, Bob Marley says it the best. You know, my life's not really good to me if I can't really do it to uplift someone else, and I think that's what it's all about. But as soon as I start talking like that, what does the world say? Oh, this dude is fucking weird. This dude is fucking weird because I'm different. So there's only so much you can do.
You know, that's like my all-time favorite compliment is that, you know, when someone's speaking about a minority, oh, he's so articulate for you know, for either, you know, a black man or a Hispanic man, and it's things like my reaction is the same thing as yours. Like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? I mean, I should be, you know, flattered by that compliment, or with a backhanded
like,
compliment.
Oh man,
what the hell
you
is
speak
that?
so well. You sound so white. Like, wait a minute. So, what is what? How am I supposed to sound? Ignorant? It's like it's a color now. I can't believe the shit that people do, man. It's so weird. And we're just feeding into it.
Exactly, and I've seen someone call Daniel Cormier, and I hate to say this word because it's really, you know, it's really rough. I've seen people call Daniel Cormier and Uncle Tom. Like, it's just, you know, the stuff that comes out of people's mouth is just, I mean, because he speaks properly and he dresses a certain way and he talks a certain way. It's just
educated, right? He's supposed to be this big barbarian. Like, what the? Are you serious? That's the part of this whole thing that drives me nuts. And it's not just in fighting too. It's everything. You know, we're creating this, and it's just certain people are awake in that sense to know not to be stupid, and certain people are just stupid. Just, I don't want to say stupid, maybe blind. That's just a New York setting. Just blind.
Yeah. Let's try to be politically correct before someone else, you know, tries to bash you for something.
Oh, I get bashed all the time. This dude is angry at me on Twitter. Like, hey, man, why did you want to sign stuff? You know, you were mad. Like, first of all, I broke my fucking toe. I'm trying to get to my room. Excuse me for not wanting to sign something. I'm sorry. I'm hopping around.
Evidently they didn't hear. They didn't. Evidently they didn't listen to that one Eminem song where he talks about, hey, if I'm using the bathroom, leave me the hell alone. You know.
Yeah, leave me the hell alone, man. Leave me the hell alone. I just want to be normal. That's what it comes down to. But you know what? It comes with it, and my coach is always drilling my head. You know, son, it's not going to last forever. And I get that. I understand that. But, you know, I'm not in for the fame and all that. You know, I'm in it for me personally because it's a personal goal to test myself, to get better. And as a kid, I've always been fascinated by martial arts. Like, you know, when I get to spar or train with someone that's at a higher caliber level that could really kick my ass, I actually get excited. I'm like, man, this guy kicked my ass. Let's see how far I can get. Like, I don't like to study my opponents, which is a little weird. People say, like, oh, why don't you want to study? Because I think personally, in a real fight, you don't know crap about the guy. Forget about my best attributes. I want to say, all right, I'm in there. Figure it out. But why can't I do that? Because it's not normal? Because everyone else is doing it? Why? Why can't I do it? Why?
Yeah, it's funny how that everybody sets boundaries for what you can or cannot do or should not do, and it's just, ultimately you do what makes you happy, and that actually makes perfect sense. If you treat it like it's a real fight, because it is, and in a real fight you don't know what the hell to expect. You know what you're going to bring to the table, though. You don't
at all. And I'll watch my opponent, but I'll take one thing. Like when I watched Santos, my coach was saying, "Oh, you should watch the tape." I was like, all right. It took me, I think I must have watched the tape literally freaking 2 weeks before or a week before the fight. And I just picked one thing. I said, okay, he flinches a lot. All right, I'll just focus on that. Like, I don't need all this other stuff. That's just my way of training. I just like to go out there and figure it out. Like when I was on my broken toe or whatever, I was like, all right, I got 3 limbs left. I'm good. I'm more excited that way. It's just a part of coming outside my comfort zone. And I think when you start doing that, you're living. Most people, they just stay in their comfort zone. They don't know what it's like to be a little uncomfortable, to push to get to a further level in life. And then they just stay there, and then they just die. Like, I don't want to be that guy. We're all going to die, but I don't want to be that regular guy. I want to be unregular. I want to be a little different. I want to do things that a lot of people can do. And I love when people say I can't do stuff. It drives me when people say I can't do something.
I can definitely appreciate the wanting to be different. Now at UFC 175, you mentioned you fought Thiago Santos. You defeated him by unanimous decision despite breaking your toe in round 1. Now, you continue throwing kicks, as a matter of fact, and your performance was considered gutsy by most. How much pain were you in, and how deep did you have to dig in order to continue persevering?
I don't know if you ever run around with a broken toe, but that shit hurts. But I had to mentally block it out, and again, it goes back to that mental martial arts training we have to endure. We had to stay there through pain, and we used to do katas, and we have to stay in like low stances for a while and not show any faces or show any pain. But I used to teach children and kids, and for the program that I taught, I used to always teach them what's called a never quitting attitude, which is a non-quitting spirit. And 4 and 5-year-olds, the best gift you can give these kids, especially at that age, is confidence. Confidence to let them know if something is a little tough, it's okay. You just got to either switch it up, or you just got to change your angle, but you can't quit. You can't give up. And that was one of the things I always used to teach my kids, you can't give up no matter what. Even though it gets so tough, it's not allowed to give up. You always have to work hard to achieve your goals. And it was something that was instilled upon me. So going out there is almost like I had to remember what I teach these little guys, that, what, you get a little bump, you got to keep going. You got to pull through. And even though it sucked, it was hard, I had to block it out and focus on what was important. And I wasn't just doing it for me, man. I was, doing it for others too, let them know that, hey, life is going to smack you in the face, but you got to get up and say you hit like a bitch, and you got to keep going.
I think doing that revealed a massive portion of your character and who you are, who you are as a person, as a fighter. And I think fans can really appreciate that. And God forbid, if they find something bad about that, then I don't know what to tell them.
Well, some of my friends were like, oh, you shut everybody up now. Now they don't doubt you anymore. And I'm like, whatever. You're still going to have those people, still down. They're just waiting for you to do something bad to just get on your case. What do they call them, haters or trolls? And I was one of those haters, too, at one point, because you look at a guy like Mayweather, and a lot of people are like, oh, man, this dude sucks. He's a douchebag. He's an asshole. Meanwhile, he's very talented. I got to give him that. And maybe his character is a little out of place in his sense. But you know what? When you're on top and you always have people in your ear and they're going to doubt you, they're going to say stuff, I can see why, where that's coming from, And I think Rhonda said it the best, too. He was like, well, screw you or I could be wrong. Someone must have said something, and she said, well, how dare you not wanting me to be cocky, to have confidence in myself, and that works for her, but it's mainly other people that are always constantly bringing other people down. We basically do it to ourselves, And unless you've been there, you know, it's hard to see. Because when you're trying to make it to the top, others will always want to make you fall. It's just human nature. I can't understand why. And then you have other people out there motivating others. No, you can't give up. And then other people just doing it. Like, why? I just don't get it.
You know, there's the old saying that misery loves company. And that's, you know, when I was a teenager, and anytime I was depressed, I had to have somebody there with me. And that person damn well better have been sad with me. You know, so it's one of those things where, you know, I don't know if it's being a hater as much as it's just being mad that you're happier than dumb. I guess in a sense that's being a hater, but it's a different type of being, you know, hating, so to speak.
Yeah, well, maybe hater is the correct term or a term for it, but I think I've learned so much, and especially when I was on that tough house, I think I matured enough in those 6 weeks than I did in 20 years. Because when you're by yourself, and a lot of people don't do this, you know, it's good to spend time by yourself. Because sometimes, man, especially you see nowadays, everyone's on their phone so much, and we forget to even interact with each other. You know, you sit on a table with 5 of your friends, they're all on their phone. And it's just how we're starting the program now. We're forgetting each other as human beings. We're just like, oh, gadget. You know, our mind is just somewhere else, and it's just constantly happening. And I even find myself doing it. I'll be on my phone, and I'll be browsing through stuff, and I'm not even going anywhere with it. I'm just browsing. I'll go on Twitter. I'll go on this. I'm just browsing, looking for stuff that I don't even need to be looking for. But, again, you start saying stuff like this, you're like, oh, that dude is weird. So you can only inspire so much.
Yeah, you know, I definitely understand where you're coming from, because I definitely, that's the reason why I avoid social media for the most part. I do have an account with every social media site, but I'd rather not, because there's just a tremendous amount of negativity on there, and I just don't care to be around that. I have enough stuff going on.
It is, because you know what? Even when I was in the house and I performed so well, I think it was just so, all right, here's a fight, let's go out there and do it. But now there's just so much media and all this bullshit to sell. You know, it's like, damn, why can't we just fucking fight? Like, that's what I came here to do. Like, why have to do all this media stuff? Can I just fight? But that's just me. But, you know, it sells. It sells because it builds up, and everyone's like, oh, man, I want to see this. I can't wait to, you know, witness this. And then, you know, everyone has their opinion and stuff. I just want to go in there and fight, man.
Yep.
But you know what? You just got to...
Go ahead,
yeah,
sir.
You can't block it out.
Now, before I let you go, I know you posted a picture. I believe it was on either Twitter or Instagram of your toe, and it's, you know, healing up nicely. But we're nearly 1 month removed. How's your toe feeling right now?
My toe is actually great. I mean, the scab and all that is coming together. The night of the fight, it took a bunch of guys to pop it back. I was definitely screaming. My ankle, on the other hand, my ankle was really messed up bad. I didn't really know, because you know, I was eating those low kicks, and I was wondering why it was so hard for me to respond. You know, my ankle was just, it was a little messed up, a little bit before and then after, but my ankle is more the problem than my toe. My toe is fine right now, man. I'm walking around, I'm hopping. It's just my ankle on my other leg.
Now, how long are you expected to be on the show for?
Man, I wanted to get back in there as soon as I can, you know. Maybe December card. If not, try to be on the Anderson. That would be dope. But I want to get back in there as soon as I can, man. Hopefully before the year end. If not, definitely beginning of next.
And we definitely look forward to seeing you. Uriah, where can we find you on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, any social media sites, so we can help lure people down to your social media sites?
I'm Twitter. What am I? Uriah Hall MMA. Instagram. I keep it simple. I don't want to be at this whole underscore dash star. Like, just write your fucking name. Oh my goodness. That's pretty much it. I have a fan page. I have like over 3,000 requests on Facebook. I think I'm going to delete my Facebook. I can't have a regular Facebook, apparently. But I do have a fan page, and it's Uriah Primetime Hall. So.
All right, We'll get that out. And Uriah, we really appreciate you taking time out of your evening to chat with us. It was a tremendous honor, sir. And we definitely have to do this again. And we wish you nothing but the best going forward.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Let me know. I'm down.
Definitely. Take care of yourself and heal up. And we look forward to seeing you hopefully in December, January.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great evening.
You too. Take care.
All right.